Hello and welcome. My name is Samuel Ray, also known as Dr. Sam, and in the recent, I would say the last year or so, I've been getting really into motorsport and by extension racing games, which I enjoyed a lot as a kid. And I'm kind of diving more into the realistic side of the racing game scene, racing simulators and the in-betweens. So I caught wind of this game coming out called Project Motor Racing, and well, it's made by the same people who made Project Cars, and I do happen to have Project Cars 2, and I've uploaded a video or two of playing it, and it is quite fun. I actually played it in VR, and it's pretty cool. So I figured we would take a look at the two trailers that exist right now. We have our main reveal trailer and our story mode trailer, if I remember correctly.
Why do you love this wild, crazy sport?
So,
Because life makes a lot more sense when you're out there chasing limits. On the edge, where racers like to play.
one thing about these trailers, they always try to go for these real, like,
The thing about racing
profound
with limits, though, eventually
discussion
you're gonna
about
get
it.
stuck. And then they'll ask, now what? Now you go back out. You do it all over again.
But, and this is alpha
The
game
highs and
footage,
the lows,
which,
they don't
looking
matter.
at it,
What matters is
just from
getting
this
out
little
there,
snippets,
competing.
looks quite good for an alpha. And then they said that it's coming out, I think, November? We'll see at the end of the trailer if
Because
it
it's not the
shows.
failures that brand us,
But,
it's the wins that define us.
again, like I said, Project Cars 2 is real fun in
In this
VR.
sport, no one gets to buy legs.
Quite intuitive.
We build it together, one lap at a time. Because legacy is not an orphan. It's all of us. It's this wild, beautiful community we call sim racing.
Man, that does look good though for alpha game footage. I do kind of wish they didn't use this like epic movie score music though. Like, come on.
Why do you love this wild, crazy sport? The answer is about competition, passion, compulsion. That's all you're going to get. Sorry.
And so now we're gonna look at the career mode reveal, which I know I said story mode. I meant career mode. Whatever. All right, so let's take a look at this. Because
When we sat down to conceptualize
one thing that many sim racing games and racing games in general seem to lack is a good career mode. Like some of them try for a career mode and don't do so wonderful, and then others they don't even try. So let's see what they got for us.
When we sat down to conceptualize what career mode in Project Motor Racing would look like, our intention was to get players to think like professional racers and work backwards from there. In other words, how do you turn hot lap heroes into seasoned drivers feeling the pressure of real pros who don't approach each weekend ready to rewrite multiple chapters of the record books? Central to that and to career mode is an authentic motorsports economy. Your goal here isn't to win every single event, and there aren't any prize cars to unlock. It's you against your wallet because, well, that's racing, isn't it? Motorsport isn't particularly equal or fair.
So it's about
We'll
managing
start by
your
selecting one
budget.
of three financial backstories. Whether you want to replicate a rags to riches story, jump into the middle of the ladder right away, or take a shot at the very top echelons of motorsport is up to you and your ambitions.
Okay. Cool, so you can
You'll
start
be
off.
asked to find a location for your team
Rookie.
shop. Whether your team is based in North America, Europe, or Asia, that'll influence the prices of cars and event entry fees. And just like real racing, everything's available from the start. Whether you can afford it or not, though, will be based on your team's finances.
I see.
You can make your life a little
Yeah,
easier
that
by
makes
selecting
sense.
from one of 8 sponsorship models. Our way of simulating the negotiations that go on every offseason between teams and the brands who support them. Each sponsorship model offers a different type of financial support. Some will merely give you a flat fee for showing up. Others will pay your travel costs or repairs, and some will demand very specific results. It's on you whether you play it safe or risk it all and make a push for the championship.
So this
Begin career mode in the
oh.
off-season, where you can enter any championship or one-off endurance.
So this is very much like a simulation of a motorsport career with the focus being on managing your budget, your resources, right? That way you have to manage like your car, I guess upgrades and tuning, repairs perhaps. He even said things like travel costs, whether or not your in-game sponsor will pay that for you, or if you have to pay it yourself. That's interesting. That's interesting. What it reminds me of is Automobilista 2 has this mod for it's called Racing Life. It's basically that, except built into the game, because with Automobilista 2 you have to run separate software that handles all of that simulation aspect. So this seems kind of in depth, honestly, and I imagine no two people's playthroughs and no two playthroughs in general would turn out exactly the same.
Race if you can afford it. What happens out on the track after that is on you. Wins, podiums, and sponsorships can keep your finances in the black. The travel costs and damage repairs will constantly eat into your wallet, sometimes a little more than you anticipated. And just like real racing, you might be surprised at the paycheck come season's end. It's not the 80s anymore. And that one dive for glory into turn one could wipe out your entire career in one split second. Be careful. This is Pro Motorsport.
See, that's cool. It by having to pay the repair costs, it forces you to drive differently. Like right now, if you're playing a racing game or racing sim, you can be very aggressive and just dive bomb or be real reckless because you're not paying anything, right? You're just you just hit restart and try again, or you'll just quit and join another race, or what have you, or you just run it to the end and then that's it. But having to pay for the repairs in game, it reminds me of Armored Core, in the mech game where all damage and even ammo usage you have to pay for at the end of every mission, whether you succeed or fail. And so that aspect, it adds stakes, right? It adds stakes to everything. It's just like I was saying also in my video playing the demo for Night Runners, having to have that money, the in-game money currency stakes on every race because you have to wager your money, but you have to also make a certain amount of money by the end of the time limit, right? It adds some tension and forces you to drive differently. It forces you to weigh risk and reward, to drive fast but also drive careful, and how you balance that depending on the situational awareness, circumstances, whether you're far behind. I think that adds a lot of depth just on a psychological aspect, and it will force you to play differently. I think that's cool, honestly. That is very interesting. I'm actually looking forward to checking that out. There we go. 25th of November this year. So we do have a release date, November 25th, which is a little ways away, but still, that's cool. I like that idea. That's pretty creative. Like, there are other racing games that have similar career mode. One that comes to mind is WRC Generations, where you have to manage your team's resources, and if you're playing it's just season mode, then you can also be the one who manages like sponsorships and stuff like that, sponsorship agreements and whatnot. But then also repair costs are a part of the same currency that you're using for like R&D and whatnot. Well, not WRC Generations, but it will be in this case. In Generations, it's a separate R&D points that you get for completing events and stuff. But still, I think it's a really cool concept, and it will force you to drive differently, because if this has a realistic damage model, then that means that even just small bumps can cost you money, and then you'll have to, put some of your resources into fixing that for the next race. I think that's really cool. I wonder if they're going to introduce everything from like gas costs and whatnot, how deep they can go into it's going to be real interesting to see. So conceptually, I like it, and I've played and seen titles where they already implement aspects of that in whole or in part. So there's already a bit of a precedent for that kind of stuff, and if they implement this really well, it could make the single player career mode worth playing. And that is great because you're not always going to be guaranteed to have people to race, right? Imagine you hop into a dead game right now, right? One that doesn't have much of a player base, and you don't have anyone to race against. Well, if there's not a robust single player offline offering, then the value of the game just drops off a cliff. So, yeah, this is definitely commendable if they can pull it off well. It'll give us a more variety of things to do. Play with other players, but then also play solo. Always good, always good. More content, if done well, is always better. All right, that's it for me in this video. So, if you're looking forward to this, let me know in the comments. What kind of cars do you want to see in it? Have you played their previous games, the Project Cars series, 1, 2, and 3? I've heard mixed things about 3, mostly negative, but, if I can get it on the cheap, I may play it. And then I've got Automobilista 2, which I'm going to be getting into a bit, which is built off of the game engine that Project Cars 2 was based on. Now, this is going to be a brand new game engine, not the Madness engine, but the same people who made Project Cars series. So, kind of looking forward to it. All right, do all that YouTube stuff if you can. It's very, free. It costs $3.50, and just a couple clicks / taps on the like and subscribe to help support my channel. And I hope to see you in the next thing I upload, since I'm going to be leaning a lot into this fixation of mine on motorsport and motorsport gaming. All right, you have a great rest of your day. I will see you later.